High Court turns against William Ruto, delivers shocking message. Welcome to Kenya Lens Media, where we give you news updates as they break, and kindly, if you are new here, consider subscribing. Now, the Kenya's High Court has delivered the first major legal challenge to the newly signed cooperation pact between the national government and Nairobi County, certifying a constitutional petition against the deal as urgent. The decision by Justice Bahati Wamuye signals that the controversial agreement between President William Ruto and Governor Johnson Sakaja now faces immediate judicial scrutiny, with the potentially far-reaching implications for devolution in Kenya. The court directed that the case be heard on March 16th, setting in motion a fast-tracking legal process that could determine whether the cooperation framework stands or is halted. The petition filed on February 18 by two Kenyan citizens argues that the agreement may allow the national government to intrude into county functions without sufficient constitutional safeguards. The ruling does not suspend the pact, but legal observers say the agency's certification is a significant early development that elevates the dispute from political debate to high-stakes constitutional test. Justice Wamuye's decision reflects the court's recognition of the matter's public importance, particularly given to Nairobi's status as the county's capital and economic hub. But by certifying the petition as urgent, the court effectively acknowledged that the issues raised could have immediate consequences for millions of residents. The Milimani High Court ordered the petitioners to serve all respondents and also interested parties by February 20th. Those named include the Council of Governors and also the Office of the Auditor General, both of which are expected to play a central role in the legal and governance questions surrounding the pact. Respondents have been given until February 27th to file their formal responses, and written submissions and rejoinders are scheduled for March 13th, ahead of the substantive hearing 3 days later. Legal analysts also note that the tight timeline suggests the judiciary is keen to resolve uncertainty around the agreement before implementation gathers momentum. At the heart of the case is a claim that the cooperation framework undermines Kenya's devolved system of governance. The petitioners argue that the arrangement could open the door for direct national government involvement in county functions without proper constitutional checks. According to the court document, the applicants fear the agreement may blur the separation of roles between the two levels of government. They warn that if allowed to proceed unchecked, the deal could create a precedent that weakens devolution across the country. The petition also seeks conservatory orders to temporarily halt implementation of the agreement pending full determination of the case, and in addition, the applicants have requested empanelment in the multi-judge bench under the Article 165 of the Constitution, a move typically reserved for cases involving substantial constitutional questions. If granted, such empanelment would elevate the case's legal weight and signal that the court considers the issues raised to be exceptional national importance. The legal challenge comes just days after the agreement was signed by the State House. During the ceremony, President William Ruto presented the pact as a practical tool to improve service delivery in Nairobi. According to the president, the framework is designed to strengthen structured collaboration in key sectors that have long struggled in the capital. These include water and sewerage systems, road and drainage infrastructure, housing development, revenue systems, and also urban environment management. Governor Johnson Sakaja has similarly rejected claims that the county is surrendering its authority. He maintains that the agreement preserves county control while unlocking national support for major infrastructure upgrades. Government officials argue that Nairobi complex urban challenges require coordinated action between the two levels of government, especially given the city's rapid population growth and mounting infrastructure pressures. The legal dispute is unfolding against the backdrop of persistent service delivery and challenges in Kenya's capital. Nairobi has for years struggled with the flooding linked to poor drainage, mounting solid waste problems, traffic congestion, and also uneven water supply. And national government planners have increasingly argued that the fragmented institutional responsibilities have slowed progress of major urban projects. From this perspective, the Cooperation Pact is framed as a mechanism to accelerate implementation by aligning national resources with the county execution. However, critics warn that efficiency gains should not come at the expense of constitutional clarity. Kenya's 2010 constitution deliberately created strong county governments to decentralize power and bring services closer to citizens. Any arrangement perceived to dilute that autonomy is therefore likely to attract intense scrutiny. Constitutional experts say the upcoming hearing could hinge on several key legal questions. Among them is whether the Cooperation Pact respects the constitutional division of functions between national and county governments. Another critical issue is whether adequate public participation was conducted before the agreement was signed. Kenyan courts have repeatedly emphasized that meaningful public engagement is not optional for major policy decisions. The petitioner's request for conservatory orders also raises the possibility that parts of the agreement could be temporarily frozen if the court is persuaded that the implementation may cause constitutional harm. Should the court ultimately find flaws in the framework, the ruling could reshape how intergovernmental agreements are structured across Kenya. Beyond the courtroom, the dispute carries clear political implications. Nairobi is one of the country's most influential political arenas, and the control over its governance structures has long been contested. The pact has already drawn criticism from some political figures who fear creeping centralization. Others within government circles insists the concerns are overstated and politically motivated. Analysts also note that similar tensions have surfaced in the past whenever national agencies have taken a more active role in Nairobi's management. What makes the current moment different is the speed with which the matter has escalated to constitutional litigation. Several scenarios could emerge from the March hearing. The court could allow the agreement to proceed unchanged, order modifications to its structure, or issue conservatory orders that temporarily halt implementation. If a multi-judge bench is impaneled, the case could also evolve into a landmark constitutional ruling of the limits of intergovernmental cooperation under the Kenya's devolved system. For residents of Nairobi, the practical impact will depend on whether the legal battles delay the planned infrastructure projects or forces a redesign of cooperation framework. The High Court's decision to treat the Nairobi Cooperation Pact challenge as urgent marks a pivotal moment in Kenya's ongoing devolution journey, while the government frames the agreement of pragmatic response to urban service failures. The petitioners' concerns highlight a deeper constitutional question: how far the national government can go in partnering with counties without eroding their autonomy. The outcome will likely shape future intergovernmental collaborations not only in Nairobi but across all 47 counties. A ruling that strengthens safeguards around county powers would reinforce devolution. Conversely, a decision that broadly endorses the pact could expand the scope for national involvement in county affairs. For Nairobi's residents, the stakes are immediate and practical: better services versus potential governance confusion. For Kenya's constitutional order, the stakes are structural and long-term. As the March hearing approaches, the case stands as the early test of whether the country can balance urgent urban development needs with the constitutional promise of devolved self-governance. The court's eventual determination may well define the next chapter of Kenya's evolving devolution experiment. And that is all for today from Kenya Lens Media, where we give you news updates as they break. Kindly, if you're new here or it's your first time here, kindly consider subscribing.